take a look at this. Sarah sent it out. This is, an item that we do every year.
She said she was doing the annexation for the Sigma property that was annexed into the city, so there has to be a change.
The geographic update partnership software is a customized standalone and installable geographic information system, and I think that's pretty much how she was able to annex that into the city.
I'll make a motion also to share this. Second.
There's a motion and a second, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item number 2, to review and discuss the environmental health 28E agreement. Carrie's here with us today. Is there anything you want to bring up before we have the open discussion?
I'm not sure what we're discussing exactly. I thought we were gonna talk to Crawford and that hasn't been done yet, so. I brought my books if you wanted to see my books, but I'm not really sure.
When we were down at the statewide conference, I did have a conversation with their supervisors. They are very well aware we're gonna be coming. I didn't give them any information. I just said, hey, you're gonna be, there'll be some people presenting to you. We have to really take a look at this 2080 agreement, and I think there might be some questions among the board.
Just want to make sure before we go there that, we have all the information that we need, not just me, but, I want to understand, do we want to just, cancel that agreement and have a new agreement that would be looked at every year? And then do the arrears? Like we had spoken of, because I believe right now it says, to be looked at, as needed or something, it's very vague and clearly it's not being looked at. So, I personally would like to see it, renewed every year. If that's something, can you renew in 28 every year? That's something we can do.
You could put it in, if you want.
Modify the existing agreement.
And then it would say,
So you get to do it even, you wouldn't even have to do away with the 20, you've got time to do it. Then, and, you can have it where it's visit every year or on as agreed between the two entities.
I think that's where it kind of got away from us now.
So do you have a thing, Carrie, on how many years we were in the red or black? So, and then what year did the public health nurse from Crawford start coming to? Was that last year?
That was just started last year.
And are we paying them for that?
No.
Okay, so how many hours a week does she come from?
Yeah, that's what we were wondering.
Well, they have 4 clinics. Is it 4 clinics?
Here if you want.
Okay. They've been scheduling about 4 clinics. I don't want to say a year, at least 4 clinics a year. So when they get people who want to attend the clinic, then they come.
And this is for family planning?
This is for family planning, which is a regional contract from the state to Crawford County. So Crawford covers Crawford, Carroll, and other counties.
So they're reimbursed by the state then?
They're reimbursed by the state. We are not paying them. All we're doing is giving them a space to operate.
Perfect, thank you.
But they're getting reimbursed, so that has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, this has got nothing to do with environmental health. But it was just one of those things where,
We wanted to make sure that we weren't getting free service from them before we went back to them and asked why we're asking that.
oh no,
Yeah, that's all.
it's
So that's,
a contractual thing that they have with the state to cover our area. Before, they were saying, initially, they were having Carroll County people go to Crawford. And we said, no, we got a space, we got equipment donated by Polk County, we said, we want you to come here. So our residents don't have to go to Denison.
Did they just start this in the last year?
Yes, well, we've only had public health now for 2 years. And the renewal of the contract, just has been within the last year where they reassigned regions for that family planning contract.
So my thoughts are, and this is just, I'm only one opinion, looking at paying in arrears so that equal amounts are paid, so that they're not paying above or paying below, they're paying exactly what their services are.
Mhm.
So if you guys spend 1 year, let's say you only spend 30% of your time over there, well, only paying for 30% of their services.
That's how I've been doing it.
Then why does Carroll County have to pay 11,000 this year?
Yeah.
Because the contract amount doesn't cover the time spent.
It's just a flat fee
It's a
regardless of.
flat fee.
Yeah, but
that
that's
is-
what she's trying to say, we
should get away from that.
Yes, absolutely. That's why we need to be talking to them. And so after the last meeting where we had our budget, I sent them an email, so they know what it is we want to come talk to them about, because I told them, that in the contract, it says a management team, which would be 2 members of this board and 2 members of their board getting together to discuss it. And I was trying to set up that meeting.
And they haven't, you haven't
Well,
gotten a reply yet.
I got a reply saying, has anybody contacted you? And I said, no. And so she sent out another email to their board, and that's when I got the response that somebody had talked to them at the statewide meeting.
Yeah,
I
And the
talked to Dave
two,
Mulbauer.
and the 2 of you were supposed to be setting up a meeting with them. So now I'm like, I don't know, am I supposed to be still setting it up, or are you 2 setting it up? I don't know who's setting it up.
No, I think basically what I would do is like Mike will get a hold of Dave, make sure when you guys
Because
go.
obviously they're gonna set up, probably a pre-meeting before they meet in front of the board.
Well, that's what this is supposed to do. It's supposed to be a 2 and 2 management team of this 2080, where you got 2 people, so you don't have to have a public meeting to discuss it, and then go back to your board, respective boards for final decision.
And so in this $10,000 that they owe us, I understand that your time and Sherry's time are accounted for. I guess what I'm gonna ask is, do we need 2 full-time people in Carroll? Are we keeping a full-time person just to service Crawford? I wanna make sure.
No,
And if we are, I mean, should they be paying part of our benefits? I mean,
they do. I mean, that's what
Okay.
the contract
Okay,
is.
okay.
It's everything being taken into account. And so the contract just is not covering that. I mean, you look at that $39,000 and go, okay, $39,000, Sherry's making 42. So that covers almost all of Sherry, then it's not covering my time. So it's just how you wanna look at the number. It's not enough to cover the difference.
So the 10,000 would take into account her benefits.
Everything. It takes into account her benefits, my benefits.
When you keep track of that, you're keeping track of the hours and everything
Yeah.
you use,
Mileage.
material, mileage, everything to go over there.
Yes,
That's how you separate on your sheet when you give it to us.
yes.
She does have it very
Yeah.
detailed.
I know, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm just
Mhm.
talking.
Yes. So
Well,
I,
it's just a matter of you spent a little more time in there with the legal contract said, and
right.
costs have went up since then too.
Absolutely. And the Grantston County thing, I'll keep pointing to the Grantston County thing, and you asked me this about the Grantston County. So Grantston County, and I looked it up, so Grantston County's changed in 2015. So prior to 2015, we were getting $475 for a well to be plugged, and we were sending the homeowner 300. And we were keeping the 175. In 2015, they raised it to 500, and we got 75 bucks. So we lost $100 for every single well Sherry went out to watch get filled properly, because of how the state changed the reimbursement. Now, they are looking to do that again. I don't know what that number is gonna be, but if you look at it, here's my sheet. This is
And
how
you
I-
can
this is
see
how I
it, yeah.
tracked it.
Mhm.
Well, again, a good friend in the state.
Right.
Back from.
And so when we got to the COVID year, is when we really went negative and stayed negative. But if you can see in 2015, when that changed, how we had a couple really low positive years and then went negative. And I'm not gonna say that that's entirely the reason. Obviously, salaries have gone up, insurance goes up, gas prices have gone up, all this stuff goes up. And we've been asking for 3,000 here, 2,500 here. We've raised our fees for our septic and well permits. So
Seems like contract law, and this should both be reviewed annually.
Yes, I just wanna make sure that when Mike and I go over there, we have all the information that we
That
need.
little sheet she's
And
got right
that we're
there.
all on the
This
same
one.
page. Yes,
yes,
and you can see after they made the change at the state level, it's just. It's not gonna go back to positive after that.
and you know, the fees for doing tanning beds has not changed. The pool fees have not changed.
Is that state
That's
regulated?
state,
What they give you to check them?
yes.
Yep.
So the only thing we have any control over is our septic and well permit
Yep.
fees. Everything else is set by the state.
Obviously, we're not going after Crawford County, we just want to get paid for what it's costing us to have.
Absolutely,
Right.
All we care about.
And that's, yeah, we just need to sit down with them.
Yep.
And, you know, work something out with them. We've been working with Crawford for over 30 years.
They're gonna understand.
So,
I get the good neighbor thing, I just wanna make sure Carroll County taxpayers aren't paying for Crawford County services, and that would be one thing nice to be able to do in the rears. You can say, hey, here's our number, but you, it'd be easy to do it that way. It does say that we're supposed to meet with them, before March 1st. So I know we're kind of,
We can make that happen.
yeah, I mean, we're behind, like I said,
We're supposed to meet with them.
well, that would be another thing we could.
Well,
change it.
okay, so that's one part of it, and then you're supposed to give a 90-day notice of anything changing.
Well, I mean, I guess it could be for next year, but we need to do something.
No, it's starting to ball, I mean, we definitely need to probably have this more on a committee so that we wanna make a committee assignment to two supervisors of this, looks like, and Carrie. And they're, whoever they have appointed to,
So right now, we're the 41,
Oh, yes, over the past 4 or 5 years.
or that's total over.
Last year was 10,000 lots and nine, and
Yeah,
big one
the
was.
40 is the added it up over, you know, I think the COVID year was not a good year.
so just curious, if you know this answer, how come they don't just hire somebody to do them? Cause they can't find anybody, or they just.
They're not listening. They like,
They can't afford to hire.
one. We're doing it way too cheap. Way too cheap.
They can afford to do it.
And something, they would hire someone tomorrow if they could.
no, they wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't think they would.
Well, that's what I wanna understand, should they, are they? Are they paying,
Yeah, because
Part of the
$42,000, we paid them.
I know, but that's for services, I just wanna make sure. That salaries and benefits are included in that $10,000. I don't want to see us carrying extra, and I don't think it's speaking that way, but. I don't want the taxpayer burden with another full-time person just for one county. That's all
We're
I'm saying.
spending 60% of our time in care. Roughly, depending on the year. So every well that gets plugged, every water test, for the most part, that's Sherry. Sherry's basically doing that entire Grants County's program with a little bit of help from me when she needs it. I do the septics and the complaints and the pools, and she's doing essentially the Grants County. So all that funding we get from Grants County is because of her work being done in.
Well, the nice part too is you take wonderful notes, and that's very appreciative, but,
She does.
keeping track of where and when and what and how much it costs, so I do appreciate that, the board appreciates that, so that'll make that easy. That'll make that meeting a lot easier by having that.
Yes.
So I think just guidance going forward, if this is what the board agrees to, just set that meeting up, get with Carrie, get with Crawford. And start moving forward.
It looks like there's also a problem here with the state. You say they're thinking about doing it again?
There's
That's gotta
been,
be done by legislative, I assume, right?
Um,
Most fees are set by legislature, aren't they, according?
I would assume so,
yeah, they're working on them, so I know that
I'm
They
not
are-
sure we shouldn't be talking to our legislators, showing this stuff.
Saturday, legislative one.
But it would be one more reason to go annual. If it's.
Oh, yeah, I-
Anything like that, then we.
Well,
would
it needs,
extra it every year.
it needs to be reviewed instead of waiting. Like he says, same with the
Contract law.
contract law with that. We kept,
about 15 years behind on that, and we are 12 years behind on this
so
one.
we'd have been 16 years behind.
It's already 2012.
Well, it looks like John Worden prepared the original 2080, and I would assume that once you guys meet with them, you could let him know and something could be worded in there about, you
That's
know,
what they make.
Meeting with the
And then what changed where we won't get positive? You told her that.
What changed?
Yeah. Was there?
Well, I'm not
is
saying it
different?
won't at this, it won't the way it's being done. I mean, until the state wants to give us more than $75 to drive to the county line to plug a well.
Where it starts going negative there is where they changed, was 2018,
2015.
The fees.
You can see it going
Yeah.
down and not coming back.
So
Because they're not reimbursing.
they're not reimbursing at all, nearly at all close to what it costs us to do it. And again, when salaries go up and insurance goes up and gas goes up, all those things are going up. The contract fee needs to go up. But I can't control what the state goes up, if at all.
Do you know, the numbers before these four, you said we've been doing this for 30 years?
So over 30, yeah,
Do you know if we made a ton of money on before?
before my time.
Yeah, well, this shows 14 years.
Yeah, so
I mean, I don't wanna go into meeting and bulldog when maybe we made 100,000 above that.
no,
you know what I mean?
no, we've never made, because I don't feel comfortable making money off of them either. I mean, we, you
Obviously, but
know, I
I'm
don't
saying
wanna
there's
make
some
money
years
or
that we
lose
did,
money.
we did 10 grand, 10 grand, 8 grand, you know?
Those were, we had a food program at one time.
That's what I mean, so before 10, do we have the numbers?
This
I
contract was
probably-
2013.
I probably have to go through and look, but
But before that, they had. it.
And Green County was a factor.
Yeah, we used to
for
do
some-
Green
look
County
into
too.
those years.
Yeah.
so we've had lots of things that have come and gone and changed and the state changes and, you know, everything changes. So I mean, I've got all my records since I started.
Just think it needs to be looked at every year.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something needs to be done with the contract and, you know, because we've worked with them for so long, you know, they look at us as being them, really. So, you know, to say that they would find somebody immediately, they don't wanna do that. They don't wanna have to do that.
Well,
They're
then, by the
satisfied
time
with
they hire somebody, big vehicles and all that in office,
They can't afford
They
that,
can't afford it.
exactly, that's it. It's no way.
This is a better deal for them. I mean,
You get environmental health
Because
covered for 36,000 or whatever their contract fee is right now, 34,000.
if we didn't have them, we're gonna have to
You can't do
change the
that.
way we operate here too.
Cause there are certain environmental aspects that are required in state law. And so we're required to have them, Cropper's required to have them. Septic as well. The other programs. are- Get out there.
I mean, if that's met with them before the end of March, it'd still kick in this fiscal year. Or not yet, 25. Right.
Well, that's the cancel.
We talk about those to change.
Does they change or does it say cancel?
It says either party withdraw.
Withdraw, so that's cancel the contract.
Also, anybody wants to do that.
So I would think it would also apply to amending item number 11, which says 24,000 a year.
Oh, well, obviously that's changed and we
Yeah,
haven't
that's what I
changed
said, we
the
haven't changed the
contract.
2080.
So putting an amount in there. We just need to meet with Rob.
I think we take an average and charge them, and every year we'll add the back, whatever. In rear, right? Charge them.
I agree with that.
I just wanna make sure.
But I think they're gonna say that maybe they'll, if we get ahead of them, that we take that into consideration for next year, take it off.
Was it?
And vice versa, yeah, we'll be good stewards, they'll be good stewards.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing, is making sure that they knew that we weren't trying to take advantage of them and we weren't being taken
Do
advantage.
they pay this on July 1st roughly?
No, they pay it, we bill them after the first of the year. Somewhere there, I don't know, we probably
So
haven't
6
gotten it
months
yet.
behind.
We just bill it within the fiscal year.
There's no. Is there any more questions?
I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page before Mike and I went there. And
Honestly, you can take me and Carrie's available to actually as well.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Dave knows what to accept, or he knows what
Yeah.
our ask is gonna be, and he seemed reasonable with it.
All three of
Yeah.
us talked about it today, so.
And Dave was around, years ago, and then, back, so he's got some perspective, historical perspective there too. So, yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for answering.
Yeah.
Carrie.
Thanks for.
Is there anything else you need to gather together? So you're gonna call him, Mike, you're gonna call him? Okay, and then you'll let me know. Is there anything else you want me to gather to take with us to them?
this Cranston County is information for sure.
Oh, okay.
We just bring it.
Just bring it. Okay, I found the contract. This is the contract from 2015. Do you want a copy of it?
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what the costs were.
Yeah, that's.
So well plugging was up to $575, including $75 for administrative fee. So we got $75 and the homeowner got $500. So and then the water test was $60. We got a $60 administrative fee.
Yes.
And I'll get you a copy of it. And I'll email you this email. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider for approval the fiscal year 25 compensation board recommendation. On December 4th, we received the recommendation from the compensation board. It is a $3,500 one-time, one-year stipend for the Carroll County auditor who assists with preparation for the Carroll County budget. A 3.2% raise for fiscal year 25 for Carroll County Sheriff, Carroll County Treasurer, Carroll County Recorder, County Attorney, Carroll County Auditor, and the Carroll County Board of Supervisors.
Have you been plugging that figure into the budget?
The 3.2.
Friday was a long time, Thursday.
Huh?
Was it Thursday or Friday? I didn't talk.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't, right?
Well, I wrote it down and, put it in there. It lowered the levy a little bit. I guess, I just don't know how much, where you want it at.
Following each other.
No?
You're gonna use the 3.2.
Yes,
Why would that work?
because it lowered some of the supplemental, because you said to use some of that loss to offset that.
Oh, that, yeah, okay.
So we weren't on the same page.
Oh,
What I plugged in initially to give you guys a worst case scenario was everybody's requested amounts. Obviously, you guys need to decide on some additional requests, but there was not any lost money in there at all. To offset the money. So we're looking at not using any lost at this point with those numbers that I had. Anything we use, I don't think you want to lower your general fund levy because it's already lowered because of the state. You don't want to lower your rural levy because it's already lowered from the state. So the only levy you really have to work with is the supplemental levy.
Well, and I agree, we don't wanna lower that levy, general levy or rural levy. Because we lower than what the state has lowered already, that's just gonna cause us more problems next year.
Well, if they limit your growth next year and you get a
Yes.
reduction, it could cause problems for sure. I know we talked about, this is kind of off topic, because we're talking about the compensation for, but on the nonprofits, a lot of those are coming out of the general fund. So, you can also look at taking those out of another place or eliminating
A
some
couple
or whatever you want to do.
Definitely. need to come out local.
So, yes. That's a good question. A long way around.
So right now, we need to consider what the compensation board recommended. I want to take a moment and thank the compensation board for actually giving us a decent percentage to work with instead of having to try to. It makes it very complicated as a supervisor too, when you're dealing with different levels of percentages, because when you do a 20% for one office, and we would typically decrease that. We have to do it for the same other offices that are getting less percentages, so it is nice, I will say, for the first time since I've been a supervisor, to get a across the board percentage. I do feel it is a reasonable 3.2% increase, I feel is reasonable. But I also want to make it very clear that we also have to be cognizant. I know that government is not a private entity, but it is a big business. And we need to be cognizant of what's happening in the private sector too, because if everybody's not getting these big bonuses, government should be cognizant of that.
Well, and I'll agree with you, this is probably the first time that they came across and straight across the board figure that was equal all the way across. And a reasonable, again, like you said, I think a reasonable raise. I don't like to use the word, but I basically wanna recognize them and I necessarily approve their recommendation as a reward to them and send a signal that's the way we like to see things in the future, instead of these big swings, because then it makes us do some dumb things. And I remember one time when they came with one raise and then one individual got a lower raise, and with us have to lower, I think that time we cut someone's higher one 50%. Well, when we did that, that person got maybe like a 3%, and then the one that had the lower one, had to cut that one by 50%, and they got a 1%, and that was actually by the individual that moved the raise the most. That's the things I don't like.
Putting back the blue was implemented.
Well, this is part of that. This is way back. This is back before.
Those percentages.
I think this was even back before Mark Beardmore was involved. So, yeah, it's a long time ago. But I mean, that's the things that we get caught into, and I do not like that. That's why I would tend to like to go along with this recommendation and kind of hopefully send a signal, this is the way we'd like to see things in the future.
So it's 20 people that are elected, 10 are elected, 10 are deputies who decide it's 20%. So 20% of it.
I mean, if we think we're to the point that we're gonna be able to have a budget to sustain that, then
Well, I gave you guys all those levies a couple weeks ago. They were a little higher, but not anything.
but there's things we can do by shifts and local option, things
Yeah.
like we normally do in past.
Correct.
Or we cut because it's a tight year. I mean, I think about business, and obviously I'm a business person. When I go home and I have to do our bills, if it's a tight month, guess what? I'm not donating. I'm not giving money away. So we do really, there are areas, this is a tight year. This isn't, oh, we have it, we can shift money and we can shift levies and we can play with things. No, this is a tight year, and I really hope everybody takes that into consideration. But I do want to commend our workers as well, because everybody's done, I think they have done a phenomenal job, especially with some of the construction going on. And having to adapt to different spaces, and this is the time, you guys, this is when you have your discussion.
And one of the other things that Courtney had talked about, but every one of those,
I'm gonna go with everything, because I don't think I was trying.
I think it's sort of good. One of the things we have done in the past, and we've done this several times, was our health insurance. Being we're looking at only a 1.5% increase. We have not always necessarily passed that on to the employees over the counter, but took it out of the pool. So by doing that, that would reduce that county expenses also. It might not be a big amount, but it would be a little bit that would probably offset it and be a reward to the employees for the way they're utilizing generic drugs and stuff, making our low rates stay low, which we want, when the third year will be about
Yeah.
low too.
And I think he said the increase was gonna be less than 1%.
1.05 is what he.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's one of the things that we should look at too. We have done that in the past, taken out of pool, being our pool's got up there where it's at now.
About, what did we say, 1.2?
Yeah,
In there?
1.4 or something like that.
I think one more thing that we need to look at as supervisors is, do we want to be like both do we want to take 16 years worth of raises? Or do we want to set the example for the state? And save money? It's just something to think about. I mean, if we're asking people to sacrifice.
Well, I'll go along with that, I can say it. I'm gonna say it, the state of Polk is the state of Polk.
Right, but
They're all together different, and in the past, I mean, we have, the supervisors have always kind of either taken a cut or taken nothing. That's all fine and dandy, but you know what, our expenses go up too,
Or reimbursed for our expenses.
not, a lot of your painting stuff.
I just think it would be nice. I think it would be nice if we set the example, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
That is,
And-
I wanna explain that, but this is the time where you have your opinion, and this is a discussion, everybody can have it. And I hope nobody at this table agrees 100%, because then what are we doing here for?
It was that I want, but I was just trying to make a statement that we have done that in the past. We have done it way more than probably any other county, as far as I'm concerned.
My first year on the supervisors took 0. So that's 4 years ago.
Okay. Not gonna disagree with what Cindy said. Do I think we'll ever be a Polk? No, I don't. They are full-time. Not exactly sure what they do all the time, and they have assistants. I don't think we'll ever be a Polk. But if you wanna play that game with, and I'm not trying to I'm just playing a full picture here. It'd be no different than elected officials, because it is a snowball effect. The second you give anybody elected a raise, it's a snowball effect. It just continues and continues and continues. Do I understand we're supposed to be public servants to the Carroll County taxpayers? I do understand that. But I think the taxpayers also understand that we are running one of the largest businesses in Carroll County. And they want smart people, business-minded people at this table. I don't know the last time we had an election where we had to scoot through who was gonna run for supervisor. We've had empty chairs for a long time. This is becoming a not such desirable position. And it's unfortunate because you do get to learn a lot about your county. So I agree with you, but a part of me does disagree because I want good, solid people at this table that are making decisions best for Carroll County.
And
And I think if you go on the ISAC, I haven't looked the last couple of years. But I would say we're probably like in 58% now, or 58 based on population, and we're like, what? 30, top 28? So it's not like we're equal to what our population.
right, I just think, and
And I'm not
And-
saying,
and
I'm
I'm
not
not
saying that I don't agree once in a while with cut.
I just
But I think
think
we've
in the
done so much work.
circumstance. With this being a tight year. I think we should get one.
So what, are you making the motion? Or are you just still discussing?
Are we allowed to make a motion?
Well, so what you can do is
Because I know it's not.
you can pull supervisors, we can pull supervisors to a whole complete different discussion. You can do a motion for 3.2 or whatever you feel is your opinion for the rest of the elected officials. And you can pull supervisors separate. The rest of the elected officials have to stay the same.
I would like to see them separate it. Is
Well, we do that every year anyway.
Okay,
And see, my thought is, this year was way, they came in with the recommendation. I'd like to see that straight across the board on everything. That's what we stand. Not only on elected, but all the way across. Maybe it's the one time that we can get everything equal once. That's
Is that a
my,
motion?
Well,
well,
does anybody else have any more? Or we can start with motions if you guys want to go, before we have more discussion.
so I would make a motion to raise the 3.2 increase just for the work supervisor.
I'm gonna add a little clarification, so I was trying to make sure what it is. So your motion is to do the 3,500 one-time stipend plus 3.2 for all elected officials except for board of supervisors, and board of supervisors you would freeze. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay, that's her motion. Is there a second? Seeing none, motion dies. I'm sorry, I need to back up, excuse me. Any more discussion? We have to have discussion if the motion fails.
Alright.
Okay. Motion dies.
I'll make a motion then. 3,500 stipend, 3.2 for everybody besides supervisor, about 1.6 on supervisor.
And that's a, let me correct, is that a 50% decrease for the board of supervisors, 1.6?
Get you in the middle.
All right, so there's a motion on the table for 3,500 for the auditor for board preparation for the budget, 3.2 for elected officials, 1.6 for board of supervisors.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, we're gonna call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Next two ayes?
One opposed,
2 4,
two opposed.
3 4.
Opposed. Motion fails.
I'll make a motion to do 100% of what the compensation board recommended.
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries. All right, so I'm gonna recap that so you have that correctly. 3,500 for the auditor for 1 year, preparation for the Carroll County budget. 3.2% raise from the compensation board recommendation for all elected officials. And that is it. All right, next item on the agenda is to discuss and approve fiscal year 25 non-elected, non-union salaries.
department heads and budget for their budget preparations, plugged in 3.2%. Correct.
Yeah.
So the numbers you gave us are with the 3.2%.
With the 3.2, there are some offices that were about 3.2 ask, but yes. I think you guys are all aware of the departments that had additional asks, so.
Treasurer, conservation.
I don't know,
1 2
I don't know if you want to include the comm center in that, but theirs was offset by the E911 board offering. So that's a little bit different,
I don't want that to happen.
so that would be an additional request. I believe.
I don't, that money, they could use somewhere else. And we have not done anything more with the union at this point, but, we'll have, whatever you decide it will be.
We need to know what happens, yes.
I will make a motion that we follow through with what I said earlier, that we give a 3.2 straight across the board. There is no additional raises, and a 3.2.
And no additional headcount.
No additional headcount. No additional money shifted around to cover. Supposedly splitting up the additional wages for a couple of people. Which is 3.2.
Right now would be a motion for just 3.2 across the board.
I'll say that.
But I want that also noted that additional money that went to public,
Oh, that
don't happen?
That was item 7 that I thought you guys could talk about that, because it has to do with the budget.
Okay.
If you're okay with that, we
You're
can.
talking
Okay,
about that 10,000.
Mhm.
All right, so right now it is a 3.2% increase, just like the elected officials for the non-elected, non-union salaries, which could reflect in your guys' discussion meeting.
But seven, that is. Say it again, say your motion, again, please, would you? How you said?
3.2 straight across.
Yep.
No additional bumps on any place, it's just 3 period. And we're also talking no additional.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, review, discuss fiscal year 25 nonprofit funding requests. Okay. So this is this spreadsheet everybody received. Profit side is gonna show the nonprofit. I think everybody was here for most of the funding requests. It's gonna have since fiscal year 18, their requested actual budgeted. We can go down, I would like to see that we actually really go down line item by line item. Again, I'll make the comment that I hope everybody treats this like their own checkbook, and when money is tight in the perspective of the county, if these increases go anywhere above 2.2, it should be not, it could be level or go less. You can also go above if you'd like, because I can't, I'm only one opinion, but. Yeah. So the first one.
Can we do these, do it, and then after she does the scenario?
Go back and review it, so she has an idea.
I'm fine with that. What I put in our budget is the requested amounts from everybody.
Okay.
So worst case, yeah.
So if we make some adjustments today, we can go and do another, and then after you done moving some funds, we can come back. What I'm getting at is we come back and maybe we did something.
Yeah, we just have to let you know. Put it on the agenda.
Do you guys just want to start at the top and go down? Okay. We'll go down past the public health. They get the 75,000 every year. That is not to change.
Well, that's.
The second one would be new opportunities. They've always requested 13,000. They're asking for double requesting.
They know there's this level of requesting.
Do you also want to talk about what fund it's coming out of in this conversation?
Yes.
Okay,
When we get further down the line.
okay, so this coming out of the general fund, are we on board with it continuing to come out of it?
I think these come out of general because they're affecting general public.
Okay,
They're just for the, what you call, well-being of the public.
well, and I think a lot of these, they require this to get matched from.
A lot of these first like 6 do require our funding to receive.
They like to sit.
Yeah. That's on the first new opportunities.
It's fine. I mean, they've been level funding. I think it's put it back to 18.
I should put it in the general funding.
And these are, if you guys recall, these are all the programs that they provide to our general public. If there's any questions, because we can see them in writing. Region 12 transit funding. We can do region, this is the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of them together for the region 12.
And those are headed per capita.
Correct.
They're per capita.
Well, some are.
The transit is.
Transit is.
Yeah. That you're hoping for, like June, July.
Well, keep those, if you can like keep those in as the same funding. Would you guys like to go into the Carroll County Growth Partnership conversation?
Yeah, that revolving fund is twelve, though, we owe 25 yet this year, right? And then that was done.
Right, yeah, it's 50,000 for 2 years.
Like CCTV, whatever. Besides, something like that, make sure that comes out of local options. Versus being levied.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, for this,
Dollar amount, it's huge exciting.
okay, fiscal year 24. They received 82,400. This year, they're asking for 87,400. And 18. Actually, we'll just go to 20 so we can keep it at even years. And fiscal year 20, they received 75,500.
Last year we kept them flat.
Correct, and we're level funding.
Last year they wanted 3.5%, where we said, well, even they kept it like.
So, does anybody want to start the discussion or throw out an opinion? How do you feel about this?
Local office sales tax, so
I mean, if they were doing their homework, or,
yes, I know.
means it's somewhat controversial, the amount, I don't think that every landowner or property owner should be levied for this. Yeah.
Yep.
And that kind of segues into my concern for this. I believe in economic development and I think every community needs it for growth and to continue to prosper. I have an issue with some comments that were made in another public forum setting, or not forum setting, but public meeting setting. It was made very clear to me that 80% of their services is used inside the city of Carroll proper. It was a long conversation, which got me to thinking, for county supervisors. So it infuriates me a little bit that we've been paying 50%, the same as the city, when the city actually gets the majority of the services. And it was made very clear by some other elected officials at a different meeting that that is what it's for, is for the city proper. And they were brought up the conversations about what about Rita, Coon, Manning, even though they do kind of have their own chamber of commerce and they're doing some great things on their own, how much services are they receiving? And there wasn't much. And then the comment was made that they might contract a employee to come and work specifically with the city to kind of justify some of that spending. To me, I don't feel that we should have to match the city's amount since we're not receiving the city's services.
I agree.
Well, I want to disagree with a couple of things you said. The city of Carroll is part of the county also. I will disagree with the fact that they do not go out and provide service to outlying communities. Because I have been involved with several times that they've been out, I've eyewitnessed when they've been out on these things. Manning, Arcadia, Templeton, Coon, and actually I believe also Middle. So they do go out. Now there's some communities, they're not gonna go anywhere where they're not asked. So, I mean, if they say they're not servicing them out there, that's because they haven't never went out and asked. Cause I have had some people say, well, if so-and-so gets this, so-and-so gets that, and I say, well, you know what? Maybe it's time to get your feet underneath the table to be part of the discussion. So some of this, you know, they have to be involved too.
There's my thought.
So, but I do think that I know this always gets to be a big issue every year. And I've stated we, by code, are supposed to support economic development. This is our right arm of economic development. We all like to see when the valuations are up. And they do have a hand in that. I won't say they do all totally, but they do have a hand in it. And I know for a fact that what counties contribute fluctuate all over the place. I know one county, they put in almost $300,000 to the administration of economic development, and they throw in another $100,000+ for projects. That's over $400,000 a year. And that's Mills County, which is not a large county. Yeah, you can go to the other counties where it's put only $35,000. Personally, I do not want to be one of those counties with $35,000, because you're gonna get what you pay. We don't want to, Carroll County has enjoyed some benefits. We are very, in a good spot. I think we've got a lot of good things going for us. More so than a lot of other counties. We're very diversified, when it comes to business. We don't want to become like some of the other counties in the state where they're, having those, those counties are having harder discussions at their table on their budget than what we are.
The issue that I have is accountability. I've spoken with Kimberly about a financial audit that we had, well, we cannot justify the $80,000 that we gave them. And I've asked for step-by-step measurable results.
And we got that for 1 month, maybe or two, and then.
That was just,
We've not seen that since.
and Mike, that really wasn't,
I know,
that
but at
was
least
something.
it was something.
It was something, but it was still was subpar and it didn't get us, are we moving the needle? I've asked her,
There's a reason this gets brought up every.
I've asked her to please even come up with 1 3-year plan of how to bring at least one business to Carroll. I'm being ignored. I think people deserve answers. I asked, show us how you can save a little money, show us how you can have fundraisers. I believe we need a monthly report for them, and I don't think they should get this full funding. That's just my opinion, and I do think that the hub supplement, I do think it's good for the community. I appreciate her work, but is all of her work in the right spot? You know what I mean? Like, is it directed where it needs to be to serve the taxpayers? That's my concern. I don't see the needle being moved. That's my issue.
That's what I showed my frustration last year and, obviously had multiple meetings with them because of that. And one thing is I wanted accountability, the same thing she mentioned. I had a few, I think maybe 2 months of emails of, stuff that was going on. And, after that, it was crickets. So, I'm not against economic development. I understand business. I understand what you have to do to keep it going, but I just want answers. And I don't, first of all, we just gave our employees a 3.2% raise and they're asking for very more than that. So, I mean, where does it start? Where does it stop? That's my opinion.
Last year, we asked, when they came, I asked Kimberly and Matt, you know, the public thinks they're too Carroll centric. We are county supervisors.
Plus Carroll, I will agree, and I probably misspoke there a little bit too, it's Jane Berger.
And we were promised quarterly reports. And one of the things I wanted was, I don't want to know the double top secret stuff that they talk about all the time. But I would like to have somebody on this board, means we were 1/3 of their funding, be on the executive board. And Jean now is on the executive board.
Well, I think, to say that you haven't had a say, we had an executive board Thursday and it was brought up quite a bit. And, but there's a lot of things I would like to have them come quarterly myself. Because there are things I don't want to speak out on, because I don't want to be the one that spills the beans on something that ain't supposed to be out there.
I told my miners, I don't need to know a single thing. I just know that you.
Yeah, well, and
They don't
they,
need to know that.
they do that, they used to do that more, give out a report, and I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but I think they had a busy year this year, and I think they were And with rag and everything else going on, House 712 and everything going on, state baseball tournaments, it's just been just crazy, but,
I don't,
One thing that it will forever burn a little bit is the warm up thing. Businesses just don't come to Carroll County. You don't just get that every day, and that will forever burn me a little bit.
well, I'm,
I was at the city council meeting when no one said a word and there was a representative from CCGP there. All they had to do was stand up and say, hey, we're for this, we can't do something, blah, blah, blah. They just had to give initiative to it, but there was no initiative. I was at that meeting,
I understand that, Mike, but the thing is that they are getting funded from Carroll, and to tell them to go against what the actual zoning.
they're getting funded from us too.
Right, but to go and tell them to go against what their zoning ordinance is, that's a double-edged sword.
The building's built.
I know, but it's a double-edged sword.
I have no problem funding Carroll County Growth Partnership if they can show me what they've done. Show me a business.
Yes, I mean, this is the same conversation from last year.
I know, but here's another thing that was brought up in another public forum was the study that they did, this not fuse box, retail coach. I don't know how much money they spent on that. To hear that it brought a cosmetic line and a washer and dryer to Carroll, that is very frustrating to me. I get they got a lot of they got a lot of data. That's great. We know how many cars are driving through Carroll. That's good to know. But we've got to do better than cosmetic and a washer and dryer. And I don't specialize in economic development. But there's a reason why everybody has their strong point. It's a reason why I do think Kim really does a good job. I would just like to see more results for the money that we're getting.
I do, understand.
And
It's not that they're doing.
it'd be nice to get that, like I said before, I'm also in the local development group down in town. You don't bet 100% on these jobs, and you have a lot of people come up to the table, and they walk away for various reasons, whether it's somewhere the word got out on what was happening or whatever, but they walk away from it, for various reasons, and you do not bet 100% on these jobs. It's actually, I think economic development is probably a very depressing job.
You could say that, but it could also be extremely rewarding if it's going well.
But you don't have that. You don't have those years very often.
Is there a number we wanna put out there? These are all to be negotiated. These aren't set in stone. Just remember that because once Courtney computes them in, if it's too much. Now we go back and lower, or if we can give more, we can. Does anybody have a recommendation?
Like sport level of it. I mean, they have got a lot of things, for sure, but
So when you say level G and you're asking for, let's say they asked for $5,000 increase for.
and I think we have to be willing when they come with us to look at anything up to it.
Does anybody else have a recommended?
I would like to suggest going down to 80. With a 3-year plan of one new business and a monthly report in this office. Or one of our offices.
I can get behind the level fund at 82.4 with your ask behind it. And I would like to see a contract in it. I think we're legally supposed to have a contract, aren't we, on that? It's legally, but
I think you can go.
I'd like to put a contract somehow. Obviously, we have an issue here.
We've seen,
This gets brought up every year. I think it got brought up in the city level also, so I mean, we need to have some accountability here. The big ask.
I think Carroll County, if we approve Gene's request, we would get a third of the funding, and the city's a third, the other third is membership dues.
Well, yeah, they also have, not membership dues, but membership dues and also, they have, people just donate into it too.
Yeah.
Because they did raise them fees, so they didn't go as grants they did this year. They did, what, 4 or 5 grand?
Well, my recommendation is none of your guys's. Mine would be 70 this year if there's no improvements in economic development, if there's no meetings, nothing ahead, we would take it down to 60 year following. And continue on that decline until we receive the information that we would like to see in the economic growth that we would like to see. So mine is actually down to 70 with potential of 60 next year.
I can find that.
So 82, 4, and you said monthly reports, or can we go that
Quarterly,
quarterly? I would go with quarterly. And I think they would be willing to go along with that too.
it said that last year.
Quarterly reports in person.
That's what we were
Alright.
last year.
So right now we have level funding
Right.
with 3 quarterly reports
And
And-
contract,
and a contract for going down to 70 until they can benefit our Carroll County as a whole. I think we need to do less funding in the city.
I mean, I wouldn't feel that way if I wasn't having Groundhog Day right now. You know, and I had not tried, and we hadn't been thinking an audit. I feel like we've been communicating that. I mean, we said we level last year, now we're saying level again, and we said reports last year, now we're saying reports again. I mean, I agree with you, Stephanie. I mean, if it's quarterly, that's fine, but I think it should be not in a little sheet in the email.
They audit, they provide us audit form with you, with the request.
She's talking about the our county
county
audit.
audit, on our county audits, basically
Well-
saying we need a contract with them and. What else was there? Something else in there?
I think you can do that just by a resolution.
You're supposed to document the
Yeah, which we do.
economic development benefit, I think, or
But my issue is I had a long conversation with her and it must not have been important.
And
I know you said that you haven't gotten a recall for this last week, but she was calling Portland all week. And they were doing training for the help, so we wanted to.
it's not that they're not looking, guys, they're working,
I know.
there's stuff going on,
that.
it's
Yeah,
just not up to what we would like.
I
for
just-
the reports, obviously, but
Transparency, I think. is huge.
there you go, that's.
I
good.
think level funding is just a repeat of what we did last year.
No, it's still 7 grand or 5 grand less than what they asked, so
Right, but it's still the same as last
How about we
year.
meet in the middle?
last year.
I see.
No, we didn't.
Level. They're gonna,
I'm the only one that's trying to do anything, no offense, in my opinion, I'm the only one trying to do anything a little bit different, hold the feet to the fire. We asked for something different last year, did not receive it. Please come and do something different, show us action. So I'm even willing to go to 80, 75. Just do something.
I mean,
I'm all about economic development, but we've
I
got to
understand.
show where our money's being spent. If it's not being spent wisely, who answers for that? It's us 5 at this table.
and it's just not,
what else I like is a couple years ago, they started the membership. deal. When you don't get what you want for funding, you obviously think outside the box to find things.
Well, and what they did is they did some of the building funding this year. And that's how they funded those grants that they did, those facade grants, those 2 startup business
Yeah.
grants. So we are looking at different things to try to.
I think they.
One thing I suggested in that meeting was maybe not dump all that grant money out the first year, so you have some excess to sit there, you know? I know, I love the idea. They did the membership, they gave them out, do little remodels here and there, but well, why dump that all the first year? Why not keep a little bit back?
Don't know that they did dump all, do you remember?
I think they did.
They gave a little bit extra money
Out
to,
right away.
yeah,
On the,
That was
I think
part
it
of
was
it.
$10,000.
that was in the presentation that they gave.
5 facades, or, yeah.
I think there was a little bit.
I just don't think staying the
How
same.
many grants was it?
It's gonna get a different result.
So what number would you guys like me to put in there? Obviously, we've cleared our frustrations. What is the,
Well, the county gets roughly 1.2 million, let's just say 1.2 million. 110,000, 120,000 a month. Local option sales tax, correct?
And then divide that by two.
So half that goes to rural, so we're bringing in roughly, so if we did what Stephanie recommended at 70,000, that would be 1 month's, local option sales tax. It would be a little bit over 1 month. So no matter how we look at it, it's gonna, if we can agree that it comes out of local option, it's gonna eat the numbers that we're talking, it's gonna eat between 1 and 2 months worth of local option
I
sales
lied.
tax.
The idea of it coming out of local office sales tax, I think that's very smart.
Yeah, I guess I could, yeah, let me ask her.
That's my opinion.
I think
Can we
we
agree
all,
on that first?
yes, I think we
Can
can all agree it comes out of local option sales tax.
Cindy?
Yeah.
Good. It's coming out of local.
So Courtney wants the worst case scenario to run the numbers, so what's the highest we'll want to go with, correct?
Well, the loss obviously is not gonna affect your levy at all. It will affect what you have left at the end of the year in that fund.
Out of local.
That we actually do take some of
That
those
we take
funds
some.
to offset the levy,
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
robbing Peter to pay Paul. Right?
well, it's moving it from a unlevied account to a levied account.
So that we can keep our levies lower, taking the local option sales tax.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure was,
And, I think every year I start a budget, there's been some.
that we move.
Yeah.
So the big thing is, we all agree that anything was quarterly or whatever, needs more, and it has to be in person. And I'm in agreement with that. And I think they are too, from our last, like they talked about, that this discussion held at the executive board. And I'll still support level funding of last year, 82.4.
I still would like a plan from them to see if we're new business in 3 years.
Raise a hand, because I can't keep this all
For
in
what?
here. Who wants level funding?
I go with local.
Okay, so let's read it. Okay. So level funding is
But
84.
with more transparency and open
And
communication.
I want
It
a
needs to be
contract.
specific.
I want a contract. I want a contract.
So that's 82 for right, Gina?
Yeah, I don't, we'll have to see how they do it. It might be able to do it just by resolution too, that.
Can we put in the contract something about one new business? Is 3 years not enough time?
It's hard.
Just a plan. A plan.
Smart goals, what's that?
So they have.
Well, I think they sent you smart goals, didn't they?
Those were not goals.
How much do you want?
I want a goal that is, people can see with their eyes.
I don't want 27 empty buildings in Carroll.
I mean.
Well, I don't need it.
Okay, so that's what,
I mean,
that's what I want.
people want to, you know, when Ken Pingree arrests the bad guy, they know their tax dollars are going towards something that's helping them. When they see it going to the CCGP, they think it's going in the toilet, and I'm just being honest. People wanna see, I don't know, some concrete,
Again,
a plan. And I still don't think quarterly is enough. I don't think 4 times a year is enough. I think it needs to be once a month. I don't think that that's unreasonable to ask for a monthly
I'm not gonna
report.
disagree with you,
I mean,
but I don't agree on the funding, so I'm out of this now.
well, I don't
Well, okay,
either,
let's
but
go-
if this is the way we're going, it needs to be
So you
results.
want the result of one new business every 3 years, so what you
No,
said.
not every 3
Well,
years.
that's what you said one time.
I said in the next 3 years. I wanna see some kind of plan for progress. Cause I don't wanna just see, let's have another report, you know, I mean.
transparency is hard for them. I'll stick up with that.
It is.
Especially when you have a big corporation looking at.
They can't say nothing, but they can tell you, they can tell you what you're doing.
I thought that's why they put you on the executive board, is because you guys wanted
But
to
I
know what was
personally,
going on.
I would just soon have them come back here and report. We find it confidential.
So you don't say anything out of.
Right,
I
and I don't wanna, I'm also gonna be up there getting drilled, and I'm gonna say, well, wait a while about this, I don't wanna be the one that slips.
And
So I just soon have them come up to myself.
we don't need to know the name of the business, the people, we just need to know, you know,
I think Kimberly refers to them as touches, and get 38 touches last year. That means people outside reaching,
Yeah.
yes.
but that doesn't really
No, that's what but it's,
give us anything.
But that's
It's hard.
the world they live in.
Yes.
And I might.
Okay. I don't know, what are other counties doing that are going to right? Because, I mean,
I know Boone County gives 150 grand to Story County. So that when Story County does have a bigger economic development, they also, yeah, every county's different.
I just feel like
Ames, Iowa, 150,000.
level funding and I just feel like we're ready to make last year. But
But it's not Boone County, I'm talking.
Oh,
Boone County.
I'm like,
pays-
hold up.
So Boone County pays.
So it's all over the board. There's no-
it is. Okay.
But I don't wanna be the company, I agree, I don't want empty buildings, but I don't wanna go back further than what we already. I agree. I mean, we've got some counties that you drive through them,
There goes that.
goddamn scary,
can we
excuse
make
my
a
French.
plan to fill one building in 3 years? Is
And
that
I
realistic?
understand it takes money to keep doing it, but
I
there's a
mean,
lot of concerned citizens, so.
I understand that, and I think, and we've had discussion at CCGP, we probably need, I think probably one thing they have not done is pat themselves on the back good enough either. We haven't done a good job of patrolling.
Chapter was the 15E allows for otherwise tax money, even though this will be local option sales tax. Allows for economic development. Otherwise, yeah, why should you build if it wasn't for chapter 15E? Taxpayer money should be used for economic development.
All right,
Okay,
So what number are we using?
level, which is 82,400. Out of lost. RSVP foster grandparents.
I think that's good, what they
It's
match.
leveraged, it's leveraged.
This one I do support all the bridge.
I do too, usually, like that's a 38-1 return or something.
Return on that, yeah.
So that's 17,798. What was the next percent again?
3 point what?
What
What
was
they generate,
Yeah.
2,000%.
2,000% on our money? For the elderly, which is a great service. Now we're to the Family Crisis Center.
$400.
That's it, anybody else?
Okay, I'm gonna throw it out there.
So last year we cut like 10,
No,
yes, we did,
Oh, we did.
6,000.
Oh, we did before, we did, yeah. We cut it by 10%.
Percent, okay, I thought you had 10,000.
okay, this is a question and I need some guidance here. So we have all these places, Family Crisis Centers, CASA, Family Resource, New Opportunity, Food Bank. Why can't we pull our resources all together and come together and have one space instead of 20 spaces?
I've been saying that since the day I got on.
So today, can New Opportunities provide the services of
Provide everything.
the family crisis, the CASA, and what was the other one?
This is I don't honestly wanna learn.
I need to, I'm asking, do they want to provide that?
No, I think that, I'm supporting my family or not as much as I can. But I think in this family crisis and that centers against abuse, operating more of the abusive centers, I don't think New Op is really that well involved. They'll help start somebody, but what they'll do is they'll do referrals back to these people.
And I also think, if I remember racking my brain when they did their presentation, they go when it's an emergency situation, put them up in an emergency situation and then get them to New Opportunities, or
As
is
they,
that right?
well, yeah, after we get past a certain point, but I think when it comes to abuse, they pretty well. That doesn't.
Okay.
So
But new
I,
opportunities has a food bank.
yeah, they will refer them to like those type stores, yes. And new opportunity will refer, if someone comes in an abuse situation, they'll refer them to this. Family crisis. But what I'm saying is family crisis
It's
and
different.
they deal mostly in abuse, whether it be physically, mentally, or sexually. And we have not given to CASA ever, and, I mean, if you listen to the original story on that, you almost want to give them more, but we don't.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all go way back when, and then somebody else is on the borders. Well, everything is brought to this table, it's good ideas, only so much.
It's something like cost, something you give them $500,000.
I mean, they are helping mostly children rape victims in Carroll County. I'm just,
You know what I mean by that?
I mean,
What if we give them just,
Would you split it between the two? You
Right.
give half one and half the other?
3 and 3. Or 4 and 2.
I would say Family Crisis Center probably does more people.
what if we went level on family crisis from last year, the 5,400, they're asking for 8. We're doing 5,400 there, gave Cass $1,000. Second.
There's no motions. Nice, sure.
No, I'm not disagreeing that perhaps. He's opened the door on funding something new.
I know, and I think that they,
This situation though, and they're also working with trafficking victims. I think the situation's gonna get worse. I don't wanna run new things here.
Maybe we cut almost all this by 10% last year,
It's,
but,
they're the most vulnerable, I mean. Most of them are kids, I'm saying all kids.
I felt like last year we gave employees a heck of a raise and we went through and cut all these. You know, I kind of wanted to, like, quit the handouts that they just keep coming after for more and more and more, but I do feel like some of these are probably, I think I'm on the same as you said, there's a lot of these are the same. I don't know, I have a hard time not giving them something at Castle, they could be $500, anything better than nothing.
It covered in form too.
We can purchase special.
or you went through, you would suggest 54 and 1,000.
Well,
It's-
there's a few recommendations I'm gonna make that are gonna be going down lower on the spreadsheet. That's gonna be decreasing these fundings. So I wouldn't have a problem saying, hey, we're gonna pull 2 from here and give it to them. So we're not actually taxing them.
That's what I'm saying, too, yes.
Yeah.
I have the same thoughts.
So you guys wanna do 5,400?
I'd probably not agree with you on 112.
Yeah.
Courtney, just for, so you don't have to ask, is this general fund money or where's the funds coming from?
This part, right?
I'm gonna assume general unless you guys say, hey, this is coming out. of
Okay, I just thought I would ask for it.
This is for the well-being of the public, so it should be general.
Typically, you pay taxes for services, at least now I can say.
Yeah.
All right, so there's the 54-1. Gene, are you kind of
54, 1 or
Right,
50?
you got one.
54 and then below it, 1,000.
Yeah, I can go.
So level for Family Crisis Center, 1,000 for CASA.
First time.
All right.
which, is that a bad door?
No, it's not, I'm not saying that.
They've been here twice, right?
I just know that
They asked last year.
well, they've been asking for years.
Yeah, they went a while without coming in and then last couple of years.
They do have a building here, and they do have someone who.
You went
lives
there.
there.
You went.
I went and looked at them. They do have someone that comes over 2 to 3 days a week and works with people, and they do go to the hospital.
Do they get any funding from the city, you know?
I don't know.
Do not know that.
All right, next one. Family Resource Center, 0. Carroll County Fair. They're requesting 15,000. Last year we gave 13,500. I would have loved to have taken 5,000 from our Carroll County Growth Partnership into this because Carroll County, just the Carroll County Fairgrounds displays Carroll County, and we have so many rural farm kids that just love this. I would have liked to have seen to get a little bit more in this area and take from another, but I'm only one person.
Oh, no, I agree with you, but a couple of years ago, I had a.
We
You're
can
not
say,
always supposed to
I could
be.
say words right now, but we're being
You can say
paid.
that's cool, Dean.
That's cool, bro.
But I was asked by one individual that one of their concerns about this fair money is that this, the increase is not going to the kids for their awards. It's called going in the ground. So there's people of different sizes like that.
I went down 3 times this year to the, once for figure 8 and twice during the fair. And, the revenue they bring in, I think it was 58,000 in beer sales that they bring in, and they don't pay any of the staff.
It's all volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah, I,
You could probably ask to see that, what they hand out in,
It's part of that, it's in that.
we haven't.
just do that.
Did they ever say anything about more people with kids?
That would be up to the fair board.
Yeah. So you saying level funding or?
Well, before we get there, I got a pull from somewhere, so I'm losing here.
Whatever we do.
I think level funding at the minimum, whether we give them the full request or not, it's $1,500 difference.
I would say level. So.
Okay, he said level.
I'll go with.
What's level?
13,500.
What we got to do last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Historical Society. They've always asked for 4, we've always given 4.
They were the ones with 150 guys.
Do they,
And that's
did
140
we get a
guys.
presentation from them?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Ms. Bar Hacker came in and she had some displays that she passed around.
Those tours, I was told,
Yeah, it was on vacation. I don't
I was
remember.
told by one person, geez, 4,000, that's peanuts for that. I said, whoa, wait a minute, that's all they asked for. Furthermore, they got some money in the bank reserve if they need it. But I think 4,000 is adequate right now, and I said, I told them also, I will support Historical Society, because once it's done, you're never gonna get that back. So as long as they're in good shape as they are right now, I think it's 4,000 adequate.
Okay. We'll go for 3,500. What are you gonna do here?
Okay, moving along.
You wanna level that?
I say level at 4.
yes.
So basically, we've had no increases. We've stayed level.
Besides gas.
But the phone.
But we took that
Yes.
out.
Community of concern. Requested $2,910.
So we have how many food pantries? Is this a food pantry?
So then,
There's a difference between this one and the one at New Opportunities though.
This one doesn't.
What is the difference?
Well, I think the difference is.
They don't
somebody
require any
somebody just
financial.
passing through
Yes.
doesn't have to be a resident and get. Like, it's like a homeless person, transient moving through, they will help them there.
So they don't have to be a Carroll County
I
resident?
think that's what the difference was, because that New Opportunity.
The opportunities, you have to show them financial, what your financial burden is and stuff, where.
but then on the other hand, if they would, when they go into financial community opportunities, being they're doing our, general system, if it is somebody coming through, they can get some help through general system. But there is a difference, I think, community concern probably doesn't require as much documentation. New opportunities kind of wants some documentation, and they want, not only that, when they come in and they say, okay, what is your condition? Maybe do you need more? They will try to provide them different services with the idea of getting them off that line of help, but try to work them way through. That's probably a big thing.
I've gone to community concerns twice. That's where they get going.
No, I was saying that's good that opportunities is like that.
We actually have somebody in the room that's on the board. Is there anything that we said that's not?
Yeah, so it's needs based, so like, it's not income based at all. So if you have a car engine blows up and you are short that month, we don't care. Like,
And they don't get to go pick what they want. The food pantry gets all the stuff. They've got 14 freezers full of hams, turkeys, whatever, from Walmart, Hy-Vee and Fairway, all donated to them.
the vast majority of clientele, for lack of a better word, is Carroll County residents, like huge percentage.
Okay, I mean, that's good to know.
I think they both serve. I mean, the transit out there, big.
No. We track, like, it's not a recurring food pantry. So like you cannot stop twice a month for a year. Like, that's not, we don't do that. It's a primarily needs based.
Keep it level.
Yeah.
Daycares.
All right. So this one is, I will go, I'm not gonna speak first. Everybody else.
Hold on, so level at 2610
Yeah.
from last year.
Daycares. We have the Greta daycare, Carroll daycare, and Young daycare.
I mean, I can tell you what's going on at the Carroll daycare. So,
I had a thought last. Let's strike them off. And we'll take this money, divide up between the registered home daycares. Give them a benefit once, so you do
Okay, I'm not too far from your thinking. But I've been far from everybody's thinking today on here, so that's okay, so I'll just, I'm on a roll, I'm just gonna keep going. So. I have no problem giving to nonprofits, so don't let this come up their own way. But if you're sitting on a surplus of money in the savings account, this isn't a time of need. So come back next year. If you come up with a need, that has to happen because your doors aren't gonna open. This has become just a handout and this money shouldn't be expected. There's other ways you can get grant funding, Carroll County, or Carroll County, what is that funding, Grow Green. There's all places to get funding. I'm concerned because one of these particular daycares has over $500,000 in savings. So does our pennies of $9,000 do a difference? Can we keep that? I know you're gonna say it doesn't mean a lot in the end, but.
But it does.
It does.
It does. Every $1,000 adds up.
So my thing is, if it's an absolute need to keep the doors open.
I mean, we don't have to treat them all the same, right?
No.
Okay.
You can do them individually.
But why don't they get the same?
Because Carroll figures, probably.
Should ask the city.
This all goes back to chapter 15E. You know, the economic development.
They
If
argue.
you don't have daycares, people can't move there because.
I understand.
And that's why I said.
I'm not saying I like these
They're not
numbers.
doing that, I didn't mean to do that, but they.
But I agree with you, Stephanie. I mean,
It's an expected handout that really isn't perhaps necessary or mandatory.
I'm not saying they can't ever come back when if their accounts get low and they get scared. But when you have a 500,000 sitting on the checking account, I think you're gonna be okay for a year without funding. I'm not saying all three of these are in that same scenario, because I don't think they are. But every one of them did receive ARPA funds this last year, federal funding. So,
So we forked out almost 23,000 between the three last year.
but I will say daycare is critical. This is the tough one, because daycare is critical to get people to work.
There's no danger of one of them going down anytime soon from what I've seen. I mean,
Well, I think there's probably a couple that probably struggle a little harder than the other ones.
yes,
What if we just did, this is just an idea, 5,000 across the board, each one? Or, I can't get behind that, I take that, or,
well, they're different sizes, right? I mean, I'm assuming it.
They're all short staffed, that all have waiting lines.
I will say daycare providers do not make.
They don't make big wages.
They don't make big wages, they're paid very
They're on
minimum.
the bottom end.
Which daycare are you even for?
So should these, if we decide to contribute, should these come out of local option? Are these gonna be part of the economic development versus levied money? I mean, we're saying it goes with economic development, so.
I would say these should.
In my opinion, they should 100%.
All right, going down the line. 5, 0. 5.
Taking Carroll all the way down.
I would go 5,400, my vote would be 5,400 to all three.
How did you come up with that number, Mike?
It's 5,400, what we cut Brita daycare to last year, and if we gave Brita, Carroll, and Manning all the same, there's no, they can come and say, why did you cut it? So, well, we're gonna give you all equal amounts. 5,400 is about $6,000, $7,000 savings from last year.
The one in particular that has a 500,000 sitting in savings.
I don't know, they got it from government, they got it from COVID. I understand. I don't think they need any money, but, I also don't want them to close and they won't. They'll probably vote on some remodel and close in 2 years, so I don't know. I don't know. Half these, how do you justify it?
See that 7,000?
That's about a $7,000 saving. There's,
What if we, I guess I'm looking at, let's say we take the other two down 1,000 and Carroll down 2,000. I don't wanna just,
So you're saying 4,400.
44 from Brita, 7,900 for Carroll.
You said 7,900 for Carroll, you're dropping it to 2,
That'd be 4,000.
and all out of local option.
If we're gonna do anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. Misunderstood.
And I don't really wanna do that, I do think Brita and Manning kind of struggle in some ways, but
I know Brita does for a fact.
That's why I was saying it can be a needs base.
I think
You know, if you don't
it's
need-
case by case.
If you don't need it this year, don't just expect it and come back next year and ask for it. Show us the financials that you need.
you know, and I know, like I said, I
I was like,
know.
last year we cut Brita. Brita was getting 16 for 8 because they needed, to do the remodel of the room to be compliant. And we cut it to 5,400.
This year it's fencing outdoors.
Yeah. It's not that they're not.
I think we need to have these conversations when they present, instead of giving them the automatic reply, no decisions will be made today. I think we need to question them more about their funding instead of just listening to their presentation.
That's a good. It's a good
We
suggestion.
listen to it, say, now we decide later and put it in the folder, and then 2 months later, we're trying to save every penny we can.
And Manny's never got to what they.
It's hard though, I mean,
Never did what they wanted.
Yeah,
some of these meetings would go on forever.
looks like Manny wanted 8,500 and then they came and doubled it almost. They went to 15, then we gave him 8,500, he asked for 15, we cut to 76.50.
I don't think it's.
So Manning's asking more than Carroll, why is that, do you remember that, Dean?
I think they did that because the way they were asking the question and what they were getting. I don't know. Well, and there were some things, they were doing some, they were doing, I think probably part of it was, they were doing some relocation to it that one.
Yeah.
They relocated that building.
If I remember right, I don't remember Manning, Breda's one of the,
Manning, it was the CEO of their accountant, who came
Yes.
because somebody else was sick.
for financials, though, I remember Carroll's was over 200,000 in the account, wasn't it? Yeah.
Carol,
Yeah.
almost. That was horrible. Some thousand, and by the time they put it in CDs and,
I mean, I can go through the numbers if you want me to.
but if we go through their numbers, we need a great at Manning system to do there.
Between CDs and their savings account. They have over 500,000.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So my answer is
So
zero.
the only reason they're asking is for the voice to get. The other ones are asking for the needed,
Right, that's.
is my opinion.
And that is why I said 505.
I think it should be a case by case basis. I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean,
So you're saying 5,000 Breda, 0 Carroll, 5,000 Manning, all on local option sales tax.
Or we do 5 across the board, and next year they're made very well aware if you have a surplus of money in your savings account, it's not a need.
we could give them a warning and do that. And they know it for next
Which
year.
goes back to what if we just did the 5,400 across the board?
Would-
Cause I guess that is still cutting Manning.
Yeah. And I think that's. I think between Brady and Manny, that probably they're the ones that are suffering.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean.
Keep moving.
Okay, well, what do we?
That's what I'm trying to get.
What do you want me to put in there?
We agree on local option sales tax. It
Yeah.
sounds like 5,000 across the board or 5,400 across the board.
Well, I don't think he agrees with that, and I don't know.
Well, I know that Brady and Manny both struggle. And
Carroll don't, so there's your,
I mean.
at the same time, I'm really crazy about just going totally zero with them either.
why don't we give, Breed around that 5 and Manning around 7,500 and go to Carroll to $1,000. I mean, and till they need it, why give it to them, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean,
Well, we have somebody on the board who sits on the Carroll, but we don't have anybody on the board that sits on Manning or Breda.
Yeah.
And if we're giving to them, should we have?
I
somebody on
actually
the
don't
board?
understand
So
why
what did
they
you
sit
just
on
say,
the
Mike?
rural area daycare.
I was saying, what if we
Go 5 and Brady?
just say 5 and Breda, 7 and Manning and give $1,000 to Carroll or something small to Carroll
Or 2,000 or what?
Something-
I would go along.
we're not really chopping Breda and Manning.
So you wanna go like 1,000 or 2,000? 2?
Let them,
Then I'd go along.
So what do we decide on here?
We're talking over 5, 2. and-
Breda, 5. Less than what they requested, it's actually not even level funding.
Yep.
Carroll area, 2.
Okay. And Manning go
7?
7. Can we get
I
all?
can go along with that, but let's make this be aware that we're setting this back and next year we may be looking at a
Zero.
big increase.
You might have to.
Or zeros.
No, you might have to increase. I don't know. I mean,
I think next year we need to pay attention more when they come in.
Well, I pay attention to Carol's.
No, I mean, when they come in and say,
Yeah.
look, we have to fix this, so we're gonna. What's that? I mean, okay.
Skip that one.
Who said we like this stuff?
Skip that one. Okay, Carroll Library.
What's the 25
So you're not gonna consider the Highway 25,
corridor?
they requested between
Oh.
1,000 and 5,000.
That's only gonna affect a very small part of the county, I think. Ralston. Well, I'm doing it.
In June?
I'm gonna do, I do recommend.
Tell them to contact CCDP on that.
Main Street, zero. Library down. Oh, no, I wanna skip soil and water.
With the library,
That's done.
That one is, yeah.
that was done.
No money for sales to get.
Wait, we did libraries already?
The Carroll Library, you guys funded $5,000.
Oh, when they
for
did
5
their,
years.
yeah. These next four are done, so we go down to the soil and water. Requested 6, sure we gave 4,500, there was questioning about statewide supervisor, that nobody funds us.
No money for stables to get yet.
They didn't request it then.
I think Crawford County gave them 20 at 25,000.
Did they? Oh, I mean, that's good.
Sorry.
Some use it for profit, but they don't use it on it.
Soil and water, sorry to interrupt.
What'd you say?
Back to soil and water.
Oh, I thought you had a figure. Well, I've asked this for years, but I don't know that. I believe in clean water and all that, but I don't know, I don't see anybody else on this.
I mean,
They do some good things, and they work on a tight budget.
they are elected.
Can we say no one else funds it? I mean, no one else funds it?
The Forest County,
No one? No.
I have not found a county. So, and I think that's for another discussion someplace else.
I could go with level funded at 4,500 in my vote.
I'm on board with it.
We cut $500 out of their budget last year. They were at 5,000 for the previous 3 years.
You know, we've been looking at everybody else, I'd say we've looked at this one good.
Alright, why don't we go forward? It's down by 2.
No, it's only down by 500.
Then 3,500.
You said requested.
Oh. Well, we could take 10,000 out of the libraries.
See, what are we selling? So what, 35?
I like to keep that 4,500.
Same here.
Scott, remind me of all the good things they do.
Like
Oh, dear Lord.
cattle, like the new cattle barns that they build that hold 1,000 head of cattle. They try to keep the runoff from going into the streams, contaminating the groundwater.
They give
They
an
just hired
award,
somebody named Ashley Brinks, so that comes up.
they give an award to, a no-till farmer. So somebody that practices
Conservation breaks.
The buffer strips.
I vote is 4,500.
When you gonna give me the order, what I do at my house?
We're moving on.
All right, I give it.
4,500. Alright, now we're to the libraries. I have a very hard time with this whole section, so anybody feel free to go ahead.
I say level.
The state code says we have to fund, but doesn't say a percentage, correct?
It does,
Correct.
it does, have a question.
It's per capita.
Well, there's a minimum.
What's the
Okay,
minimum?
We're
I
above.
tried to do the math on this before and it's very confusing. On 6 and 3/4 per 1,000.
Yeah, but it's like they have to provide us with the people that are coming in.
4,500 people who live in the county, that they go to the Glidden Library, the Carroll Library, correct? So these are the unincorporated people we're talking about,
Or is our
that
library?
use city libraries.
And the city gives them. Pay for it. Well, that would just be this library.
Well, they have to pay for all their operational expenses too, right? Let's see if Carroll has to pay for that.
But the city pays for the city, sure. That's why Crop City Library.
Right. But we give them that one money too.
Well, we give them as supposedly for the rural people.
Right.
For the rural people.
And the other communities were supposed to get to it also. I don't know, I only know of maybe one or two, the small cities actually give them anything.
The Lane boroughs
Or
or
the Hampton like that,
okay,
or they have.
or Dedham, perhaps. No,
I'm
Could we-
seeing, you want me to read it, Sam?
No, I just wanna make sure that the amount I'm going to propose is not less than the percentage. My proposal would be 36 for Carroll. And we're gonna level funding for the rural libraries. Or take it down the same percentage for the rural libraries. I think we're getting out of hand here. This percentage, these percentages are they're getting out of hand. And they all have. I don't know, I just feel, in my opinion, I feel like this requested funding is getting out of hand.
I agree, I just don't completely understand the law.
There's money in there also about the requested funding that's been getting out of hand for 80% of the sheet, so.
These were,
I'm a lone ranger.
it works, there's a lot of other organizations.
I know.
One time. This is good.
One tax, I believe, 6 3/4
we all want 5%.
cents per $1,000 of the
Which shouldn't do any of ours above 3.2.
No, but from last year, what we gave, the request this year, they all want the 5%, so.
So what's the change, 6 cents? 6 and.
6 3/4 per
That's last year, we didn't give it to them.
$1,000
Yeah.
of assessed value on taxable property, or at least the monetary equivalent thereof, when all or portion of the funds are obtained from the source other than the taxable for the purpose of providing financial support to the public library, which provides library services within the respective jurisdiction. So one thing I don't understand also is, so we want to start understanding, well, how many people are coming? And they do give us a little report. And I inquired because in our supervisor's manual, it said that library districts are to provide some kind of report and file it with auditor's office. And when I inquired about that, they said, we're not a library district. We're something other. And then, so also when I inquired about, do we have a contract with the libraries for library services? We do not have a contract with them. So the whole thing is rather confusing to me on what they are supposed to be getting, what they are supposed to be providing us. I mean, I agree with you, I just don't understand.
I said level funding, Scott, where you at?
I'd say level. They asked for 5% more, I say. Keep it where it is.
And they asked for a big ass last year, we didn't give it to them.
I think we need to ask tougher questions when these people come in to all of them when they're in person.
You guys are level,
I didn't hear what they are.
you two.
I agree with you, I just.
Pretty cool with 40, 10, 10, and 10.
Go, I would leave the three rural ones at level and that Carroll one drop to 40.
To 40,
Mhm.
can we do that, attorney, you want?
Yeah, I think so, because back in 18, we had 41,000 we gave them.
So 40, what'd you say, Mike, 40?
I'd like to leave those other three level, but I don't know, I would feel a little less on Carroll's there. They have funding source from Carroll and us.
Okay, so that would be 40,000 for the Carroll Library, 14,716 for the Cooney, Glen, and Manning.
That's what I propose. It's up to you guys.
You get on board with that, so.
What do you think?
I think that's good.
Oh, that's fine, you got three, that's fine.
And then next year we'll ask tougher questions.
Like I said, we're not taking a vote here, we're putting something,
Yep.
figures, and the.
All right, the added two
A
things.
couple years ago, I'm talking.
What?
Highway 30 Coalition, no, it's not for this year. Yeah, the other three we already did.
Which ones?
Merchants Park is the one I added because I talked to Chris Whitaker and the grant originally that they were gonna get, they didn't get, but they did get one, and then the Board of Supervisors passed a resolution authorizing $50,000.
Yep.
So that is included to be paid out. He said it was fine if we we didn't budget for that in 24, and he says it's okay if you budget for it in 25.
So to me, that's a perfect opportunity for some economic development. That is, and that's nitty gritty. It doesn't get much better in Carroll County than Merchant Park. So
Sales tax.
And
it is, it's a nice section.
100%.
So we have to budget that in for 3 years or two?
2.
2?
Because I had it in there because they were gonna get funding. and
So
we
12,
didn't get funding.
Well, five, this budget year, that.
25 and 25,
It's 50 total.
50,000 total,
But you didn't have to give it because they didn't get the funding.
right? But they got other type of funding now.
Yes.
They were doing the tourism grant and then they did not get
The
that.
library's out.
The libraries come out of rural because the rural residents
that's
are really good.
What about, oh, and even Carroll in it? Yes.
What about soil and water?
That comes out of rural.
Level.
That'd be rural to you.
Yeah, so rural is your soil and water and your libraries.
Okay, you got a good handle on that, Courtney?
I think so.
So
Clear as mud?
Can you repeat everything to us, Courtney?
on
Well,
the
you're not
bottom,
done yet.
on the bottom. The 30 coalition, what did you do there?
That's
They,
done.
yeah, so,
They did a study.
They did a study where they
It's done,
charged it, but
yeah.
I was paid for.
Yeah.
and the other two you guys have already committed money to.
So
Arcadia,
Riverside.
Fair Road and
What
Riverside.
about Manning, that done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got level on new op, region 12, 824 CCGP, level on RSVP.
All
I
right.
hate trying to read on that one.
Why don't, Courtney, instead of doing that, why don't you just send us the updated numbers?
I'd love to do that.
Okay.
Thanks, Nathan.
Sounds like come out.
All right, item number six, review, discuss fiscal year 25 employee health insurance rate. Currently, we had Courtney put in a 1.5% increase. And I think every department did their budget with a 1.5% increase.
I love that I have this figure the other day.
That's why they you'll be an operator. I love
So I put this on here because I wanted to know if you guys were gonna leave it at 1.5, you wanted to reduce it, you wanted to make it no increase. Obviously, when you don't increase it, it saves money on the county side. 85% of the 1.5. But I think employees also see that there's no increase, and so the 3.2 is 3.2, not, that's not really.
Well, the other thing you and I talked about is also, we've had these low rates because of the employees use the generic drugs benefits real well.
We have, yeah, and everybody's staying healthy.
That's being helped, and I think this is one way of rewarding them by not increasing it. And it's also, again, saving that out on the budget,
Mhm.
just take it out of the insurance.
And we won't have to change the employee handbook, because it can still be 85-15, as long as we take this out of our pool.
Right.
Correct.
It has no effect on the 85-50.
It was 7,000, if I remember right, was the percentage, or the 1.05% was 7,000. The employee's contribution could have gone up by that.
Let's say we'll
Yes.
I like that.
All right, next item. Review and discuss the fiscal year 25-20 budget.
Well, this I thought could be, anybody that asks any additional on their budgets.
So we really only have one scenario to talk about, and that's that 10,000. Right? Because we, in our motion for the pay increases, we said no added
No staff.
No additional.
percentage
Okay.
increases.
So, yeah, I guess it would be the comp center,
So explain to me that scenario. So there's $10,000 we're talking about,
So
right?
the E911 board gives the county $35,000, right now, $35,000 a year for the comps.
Okay.
They're proposing to give $45,000, which would be an additional $10,000. But that $10,000 is only to be used to increase salaries for, I think, 2 or 3 people in that department that do E911.
Did he check that out? He was gonna ask if that was the stipulation kind of much.
I don't know, but that's what I was told.
Yeah.
So who funds the EMA?
E911,
Do that.
not EMA, E911.
It's your phone charge.
Like your search taxes and, so it's not property tax dollars.
Me, it's the way to shift there. Someone's doing that to try to use more money for wages. And I'm opposed to that. There's better place for that money. At this point.
So it would be in addition to the 3.2 that we're doing for everybody else.
For 3 people.
Yeah, no, I'm not for that.
Moving some money.
It was a little different stipulation because they were getting the money given to them to offset that. So that it's not, there's no increase this year to the tax asking, but obviously next year.
No.
It's a raise on top of that, and it isn't over the 3.2, so I wanted to make sure that.
No.
Gina's opposed, I am opposed.
Opposed.
Oh, Brett carries it, so.
And yeah, so I guess I didn't realize you guys were gonna take care of the additional asks in that motion.
Just getting things done, Courtney, just getting it done today.
Was there any other outstanding ask that was additional?
No.
Out of the ordinary?
What about the capital on the ambulance?
That's
Well,
within his budget, we haven't talked about that yet.
as far as capital, if he justified that, I can see. Because those costs, those things are going, I can justify that capital.
But he's putting that into an account, that's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
being spent,
Right.
because they know they need a new roof.
I mean, it's an additional ask. but
It is.
But it's putting it away for that expense down the road. I have no problem with that.
So we're talking wages is what?
Yes. And
Yeah, as far as like their asks, their budgets, I hope that you guys ask those questions. And I made notes, like if you guys said, well, no, keep it at. If they're asking 7 and you say, we'll keep it at 5, I would make note of that.
I don't think there's anybody that was asking for any, outlandish equipment or anything either, if I remember right.
I might be on the number 9.
But so
Oh, well, that one, yeah.
I'm a little confused on conservation budget. So he was gonna take 30,000 out of the capital fund, so does that mean it stays in the capital fund?
I would do his budget, the alternate way, because he had his budget two ways.
Yes.
If he got to hire somebody and if he didn't.
Yeah.
So his numbers would be if he didn't, and I don't remember.
Okay, so that money was still there. He was gonna.
I mean,
one-
overall asking is about the same.
I just wanted to clarify, so that's.
What about?
You fuzzy on that, Mike, or clear?
Yeah, because what about we didn't hire the person, they're gonna ship the money over to the,
That's what I was asking her, the 30,000, they were on the track loader or a truck, it was one of the two.
No, this is
Oh.
conservation.
conservation.
That's
Yeah,
what,
they were gonna buy a piece of equipment.
it was either a truck or a track loader.
No, I'm saying for.
Full-time or part-time?
Full time, they got rid of that summer help, and we're gonna move that money to another full-time person help.
That was the plan, but that's-
And with not hiring that full-time person for 6 months, they're gonna move that money to adjusting someone else.
it'll stay where it was for hiring the part-time help.
Maybe, because they're not gonna get summer help.
I thought they were gonna get, have to get summer help if they can't hire somebody.
Yeah.
Nations right here.
My understanding is they aren't gonna get summer help, they're going to get somebody else too.
But, and you know, and I feel bad about that one. Cause he's only gonna get 3.2 wage increase, he asked for a lot more himself. And he's the individual that gave up his raise 1 year to get the other staff a raise. But I think it's. We do very across the board as far as.
It's the options on that.
Yeah. So. Oh, this is for the whole budget.
Right,
I was thinking of when they were transferring money that last time, like.
no, we're in,
Yeah,
that's different. But so Jason had three
Yes,
options. Option number one was no employee changes, keep the 3 seasonal interns, 3.2 salary. And, he pays 4% on county insurance. But we're going with this option one. Option two was to add the park technician position. Option three was add the,
we're saying we need to,
I think we're saying, let's keep it level, or option one.
as a board, I think they voted on 2 or 3, didn't they?
They did. But again, that was just conservation.
So my question is on this.
I think Courtney's got it figured in his budget as presented and as requested. And I think his is gonna stay as, your two category 2.
Requested and preliminary.
Yeah, preliminary. I think what we're saying is stay preliminary.
I think they actually voted on option 3, but me personally would vote on option 2 as their board voted on that. But that's up to you guys. I mean, there's a reason they wanted,
I wanted to make sure.
get rid of 3 part, summer help intern that they can't find. Um,
Technically, copies of this. So,
Requested to, some requests on here was, just shy of $34,000 less than budget on nonprofits. FYI.
Not after requested, you want to use the word. What kind of question, Gene?
Which one we talked about now?
So we're trying to make it clear which way we were going with the salaries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Jason's budget reflects. He had two choices.
yes,
Option
but,
one.
but on option two, there's no difference in salaries, what I'm saying.
But we have to sustain the employee ad. He was gonna try, he was offsetting that, but then next year we're still gonna have to fund that employee.
Yeah, I took my own. I wanted to make sure I had the correct one.
Because option 2 and 3 have ad park technician, we already agreed that we're not gonna be doing any ads, so it's option 1.
Will somebody email me option?
So
one?
it's six,
Yeah, that,
I'll take it from you.
okay,
Mine is-
okay.
Well, I think
I'll put that back in the
I
line.
don't have it, but some things I'd like to,
I
I'm
have one.
looking at what you're looking at.
Did you get one?
No.
Here you go.
So if you look at it, it says no employee ad. The other two add an employee.
Option one.
Yeah. Move on.
Okay.
we don't add any bids.
that,
You say don't add an employee?
So did we vote on this?
There was an emotion on the salaries, and we said no additional salaries, no additional staff.
Oh, staff. Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah, I was thinking, that's my fault, I was thinking that was no additional money to the staff, you know, like the extra ask from everybody.
oh, no, I meant it also, I was thinking that same thing.
On this.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, that's a little disappointing because they have what, 6 people that vote on that board and they voted for that. So there's a reason they want that. There's a reason they have a board.
There's about 3 people here.
Yeah. And 4, 3 members and Jason. And, yeah, next.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, it's a great idea and planning, but I don't think this is here to.
Yeah, like we said, 34,000 off the requested on the nonprofit.
Thanks for the number. All right, item number 8.
Okay, are we done with the budget?
No,
'Cause you-
are we?
Mhm.
Do you wanna shift, how much you know about local option shifting that?
Well, I think we kind of talked about possibly 300,000.
Okay,
Do
you think they'll be adequate then?
Don't know. I want to get the
Is that
numbers
not-
plugged in from what,
Are you moving ahead to number 8?
no.
No.
Okay.
We're still discussing.
Because right now, what's in there is requested. Obviously, you're gonna have to make changes and that'll affect the ending fund balance. I was just gonna put 300 in there
Okay,
now, to see.
Can you do that and then resend out? Once we put the numbers in there, because maybe, or do you want to resend it out without doing the 300 and then we can say, okay, we're only doing 200 or?
Well, I think I'll do 3, because I think, with the numbers I was running when he was in the office that day, that kind of put the reserves kind of where we wanted them to be, and the levy was less than the one, obviously, that I sent you guys saw. Talked about offsetting, because you don't obviously wanna offset your general, your work levy, you wanna offset the supplemental levy. the supplemental levy pays the property liability insurance. So we could potentially just pay $300,000 of that bill out of those lots and lower that. Yeah, because you can't do anything in the other two.
And then, so she wants to make sure we got enough to carry over to take care of it.
Yeah, because I
Before
don't
this-
like what's
Carroll.
done.
She had that, we're, great, like,
Unless you don't want to pay bills or do
Yeah.
payroll.
enough for safety, yeah, they're.
I'll have the county treasurer call me and saying that, hey, this fund doesn't have any money in it. And that's not a good thing.
Okay, that's, then let's run those scenarios.
Okay.
Item number 8. Approve end of fund transfer, the first resolution for transfer they have from the local option sales tax fund to the general basic fund in the amount of $150,000. There's a motion and a second, it's a resolution, so roll call.
Hudson,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Henry,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, second resolution is from local option sales tax fund to the general supplemental fund in the amount of $150,000. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Hudson.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Federico.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the final resolution for interfund transfer is from local option sales tax fund to the recovery fund in the amount of $1,260,000.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, roll call.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Federico.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll pass these around for signature.
And our final item on the agenda before manure management is the information that Courtney got for us to review and approve the 10X Software Solutions purchase agreement. This is the conversation we started last week about our election equipment. There were the dates changed in the contract and then
Yeah, they added the dollar amount of the equipment in there on top of page 3, and then the signature, they had Carroll County, Missouri on there instead of Iowa, that's why the name's wrong. This is for our electronic poll books. The ones we have now are not ones we want to use next November.
If you get the primary
Yeah, well, you guys all know it.
training.
Well, they said the lead time is this song, so if it's anything like the furniture, hopefully. It will be, but. I know it's a lot of money, but,
where could we pull this money from?
now it's proposed to come out of loss. That's where the other election equipment came from back in the day when we ordered that.
I understand that this is a lot of money, but I also think voting security and integrity is very huge. And it will be not only during the primary, but it's gonna be ginormously a big deal in the general.
So the equipment obviously is $31,693, but the software, we get the first year free. After that, it'll be about $2,300. And for the equipment we have now, we pay over $4,600. So there is some savings there in the software.
$32,000 we get that best.
Yeah, it's just,
But we haven't done anything. 2019, I think we done that stuff.
it's just, the program itself is great. The equipment, I think, was, well, cheap. Like, the laptop was not like a nice laptop like these. It was like the cheapest HP they could come up with. And like Dalton said last time when he did the updates on it, your laptop should not take a half an hour to open your program. I mean, it shouldn't take a half, I don't wanna pay my election workers an extra half an hour. make them get there at 5:30 instead of 6. Just because it takes a half an hour. Not saying they all do that, but there's a few of them that,
17 would be.
yeah, that gives us enough for each of our precincts. And 13 precincts, it gives us some spares, and that's always a good thing to have some extras. We can use, some of those in the office.
You don't want 13 those cherry cases.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the software, the hardware and software.
I'll second that.
Keep them out of the lost time.
Yes.
For the motion and a second, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
there's a place on here for each of the board members, just to install that.
Ooh, all of them? Whoa.
Well, and I know this wasn't due that we asked them for something, but when your IT guy tells you that the stuff that you have needs to be replaced, I took his word for it because,
Well, I'm gonna give you an example. This thing right here, you can go buy it 3 years ago, and then 2 years, they make it so you can't do your software updates. I think we've done a pretty good job if you could tell the taxpayers that you've used the same software for how many years, the same electronic for so many years, and this is gonna provide a better service. What better, what more service could you give a taxpayer?
I like to throw this one farther.
I know, well, that's because change takes time.
And, yeah.
Okay. But it is different going for different services. But anyway, item number 10, the newer management annual updates. T&J Cattle Company, number 1, section 5, grant benefit, no changes. NB Farm, section 20, Wheatland Township, and they submitted original plans. We are.
Last week I had a conservation meeting on Monday, 3:30. This week I have newspaper and radio, and on Friday we have the meeting with the assessor out here. Noon. Talking for it,
I think the next, Monday was a structure review meeting. Thursday had CCGP executive board meeting. A lot of things we talked about, particularly the budget and what's going on between the city and county. And, then on Friday, I had, well, then also on Thursday, I did a second time court, and I did a walkthrough of the courthouse. And then on Friday, I had Youth Emergency Service Center, meeting, board meeting up in Cherokee. Run through the numbers, we had the audit, gave a presentation on the audit. No findings, a clean report. The only thing they did come up with there is again, segregation duties because it's such a small staff, which is standard language and really can't. Well, we can't hire people with people, but thank you. We did have, the announcement that our assistant Megan is retiring at this rate. She went through lots of several family members, close ones, and she is going to move out close to her daughter. So, and then this week I have a CCGP board meeting here at noon, and tonight I have policy council meeting, Friday conference board, and Saturday possibly legislative forum. If anyone wants to see this audit, you can also hang me on.
And there's, last week, same budget. Structure. Walk through, and I did that one on my own, not with meetings. This week I do have the assessors meeting at 12 out here.
Last week, newspaper, radio, little rating meeting report, then newspaper, radio. And then I emailed you Monday, there was no asbestos in the basement.
What's really good?
Yes, that was very nice. And Zach got 2 dumpsters outside the building, hopefully, and he sent out, I know Lisa,
email?
yeah, an email to, yeah, got all the, not a dumpster, like a party,
Kitchen
but a
party.
kitchen party. Yesterday I did go to I talked to Tony and I went to the courthouse, the ceilings are pretty much all done, bathroom stalls are in there, Kevin's office is getting a lot of the woodwork done. The pads where the possible asbestos was. Grease only removed 3 of the 4, so I questioned that, and Ryan only had to remove 3 of the 4. So, and there is gonna be a little bit of film needed, so meetings is gonna take out to 4. This week, today at 11, we're late for Iowa Prison Industries. Courtney, I hope somebody knows where to tell them to put your file cabinets.
I told Emily.
Okay, Gene and I have CCGP at noon. Wednesday morning, meeting with SEH and Baiting over progress at the courthouse. Friday at noon, conference board. Saturday morning, DMAC 10 o'clock legislative forum.
I may or may not be at the legislative forum due to the Hoop It Up basketball weekend. Basketball, kids play basketball. You're looking at me like, we'll see.
I can.
You got a lot of trophies.
I had a daycare meeting yesterday, it was a short meeting, they are looking for 2, yeah, 8 helpers, assistants. They're also doing the Little Caesars pizza fundraiser, and then anyone wants pizza. Wednesday, I have, we went over questions. Emergency management on Wednesday, we have safety meeting on Wednesday, and moved that, was supposed to be today, but obviously we're here. Assessors at noon. I will be in Fort Dodge on Saturday for something different. So I won't be making that legislative forum. And then next week I have hazmat in Fort Dodge. Like that's fine.
Courtney, what do you got? For next week?
Right now.
I didn't build it.
Well,
This is where we skip a week.
oh, I forgot, I did bring my book in. Building and budget, please put it in the budget a little more.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
11:24.
Motion and a second, any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, we're adjourned. Hi, Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to our meetings. Only one at a time.
Yeah, sorry about that.